Before we begin this presentation, please note that this is not intended to satirize anyone's expertise or discredit their degreed skills in crime scene photo analysis techniques. It is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Thank you for watching. Hey, all you investigative crazed folks out there, an exciting new compilation of tools is now available from NPG Toys. Introducing the new Mr. Smiley's True Detective Kit. Comes complete with an official magnifying glass, detective badge, ID card, secret code maker, police whistle, fingerprint ink, evidence collection cards and markers, and an exclusive long tape measure. The deluxe kit includes 2 photo loops, fingerprint and DNA collection tools, plus tire and footprint plaster casting equipment. Order yours today. Along with the purchase of Mr. Smiley's True Detective Kit, you will receive a link to open your first case. Use your secret code maker to gain access. If you're ready to enter the decoded message, let's get started. Congratulations! You're on your way to becoming a true detective. Let's open your first case file. As of late, due to so many new followers recently seeing leaked photos, once again, there seem to be several items that have people confused, causing fanciful speculations. For your first case, we will cover 2 of them. As you begin, there is some information we want to present for you to keep in mind before you start your professional analysis, and those are location, 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 and the time frame of events. Documented testimony and court records show that on the early morning of Wednesday, June 10th at 5:48 a.m., the cab arrived, picked them up, and they all left. Then on Sunday, June 14th at 6:30 p.m., the crime scene processing began. So what does this mean? It means that for 4.5 days, the property surrounding the Blanchard home was exposed to the neighborhood and Mother Nature. What do those have to do with anything? Let's do a quick dive into some other details to help assist in your professional photo analysis. The neighborhood. Keep in mind that the Blanchard residence is 3 homes away and approximately 300 feet from a busy road, with at least 9 other residences in a cul-de-sac before reaching the property, and 27 residences past the scene of the incident, meaning there are 39 other homes in the neighborhood with an unknown total amount of occupants in each of those residences. So, upon your investigation, can you argue that not one family member in at least 10 of the homes never passed by the Blanchard residence during those 4.5 days? Next, Mother Nature. We wanted to look up the weather for those exact 4.5 days in 2015, and the information we found on weatherspark.com shows that in the area of Springfield, Missouri was as follows. On Wednesday, June 10th, the high temperature was almost 90 degrees, muggy and mostly clear skies until the evening, with winds up to 10 miles per hour around 10 a.m. On Thursday, June 11th, the high of 90 degrees, clear skies, with winds reaching up to 24 miles per hour. On Friday, June 12th, high of 89 degrees, mostly clear until thunderstorms in the evening, with winds reaching up to 27 miles per hour by 10 a.m. On Saturday, June 13th, the high was 85 degrees, partly cloudy, with light rain in the early evening, with winds reaching up to 33 miles per hour by 4 p.m. And finally on Sunday, June 14th had a high temperature of 85 degrees, partly cloudy, with rain moving in around 1:50 p.m. as well as the evening around 8:50 p.m., with winds reaching 21 miles per hour around 2:08 p.m., and even as high as 41 miles per hour by 8:52 p.m. Now you may be asking, why is weather important to point out? Shouldn't a seasoned true detective have all the facts lined up before making your final professional assessment? Item number 1, the tire tracks. All items found surrounding a crime scene are marked, photographed, and collected, just in case something is of relevance. As with any evidence found at a crime scene, it must be properly documented, collected, and preserved to maintain its integrity. Impression evidence is easily damaged, so steps must be taken to avoid detriment. Note: the tire tracks were on North Hope Road and not in front of the Blanchard home. Despite what you may have heard from fanciful speculators, you can see on your own that this is yet again another false allegation. For those expert photo analysts, you can see what is in front of the Blanchard home: mailboxes, a sidewalk, electrical, landscaping, and even a fire hydrant. Upon your investigation, can you locate such ingredients anywhere near the tire tracks in the evidence photos? It's pretty obvious that these tire marks were made once the ground was wet, which wasn't until the weekend. Wouldn't you agree that the tire tracks look pretty fresh and not 4 days old? We pointed out it rained on Saturday evening, as well as Sunday. Remember the supplemental report from Sergeant Mark Stager stated that, due to rain moving into the area, we began a search of the exterior of the residence. Sergeant Stanley, Sergeant Rice, and I began a grid search outside of the residence. The search had to be called off twice due to lightning strikes in the area. The evidence on the outside of the residence was marked with number placards, then photographed and collected. Now, if you look at Google Maps, you can see several photos showing that location has been used for parking and storage. Also at that time, there was a home on the corner which has now been demolished. Could it be possible that this spot is where lots of homes in the area use for extra parking? Or what about the owners of the sheds? Wouldn't that be a prime spot to park to gain access to whatever is inside? We would also like to point out that even though there were photos taken and in evidence, no cast was made, no connection was formed, nor were they ever brought up during Nick's trial or even his 2022 hearing, probably because they have no relevance to the case. Item number 2, the cigarette butt, also known as the most littered item in the world. As most know, when garbage is littered on the ground rather than placed in a recycle, compost, or trash bin, rain and wind often carry it into storm drains, streams, canals, rivers, or even into your neighbor's yard or driveway. Once in the environment, trash can travel long distances via wind. Cigarette butts are by far the largest single type of litter by count. Since the 1980s, cigarette butts have consistently accounted for 30 to 40% of all items picked up in annual international coastal and urban cleanups. That means cigarettes, which also top America's list of most littered things, have the long-standing distinction of being the most littered item on Earth, with about 4.5 trillion cigarettes discarded each year worldwide. Disposing of cigarettes on the ground or out of a car is so common that 75% of smokers report doing it. Studies estimate that smokers litter as many as 65% of their cigarette butts. Studies have also found that beyond a wind velocity of 8 to 13 miles per hour, cigarettes are most likely to be carried by the wind. With this knowledge, remember we've pointed out how many homes are in the Blanchard's neighborhood, and we've pointed out how high the wind speeds reach during those 4.5 days in the area. Would you argue that not one resident who is a smoker lives in that neighborhood? Could it be possible that a bike rider, dog walker, neighbor on their porch, construction worker, shed owner, or even a driver on any of the nearby roads tossed one out their window or on the ground, and Mother Nature carried it to the final resting spot to be photographed? Nick doesn't smoke, and at that time, nor did the shrew. For argument's sake, with the winds and rain during those 4.5 days, wouldn't one someone dropped that morning be in the neighbor's yard by that Sunday evening? Like the tire tracks, neither was brought up during Nick's trial or 2022 hearing. Why? Because they had no relevance to the case. To close out your assessment, don't forget to include the several neighbors who ran over after seeing the Facebook post and were standing around, crawling in windows.
Wait, wouldn't that be considered contamination of a crime scene before it was processed? We will save that for another case file.
Who were concerned, waiting for the police to do the wellness check that Sunday afternoon. Could it be possible that one of them smoked? Or even parked on the side street, leaving a tire track mark on the damp grass upon departing? Before we finish, we ask you to pretend to be a hooligan for a second. If you were leaving a crime scene you were involved with, would you stop for a cigarette break and drop the butt with your DNA on it? Would you park on a side street in the damp grass to accidentally leave behind your tire tracks? Think about what types of vehicles have dual tires on them. Wouldn't such a vehicle,
Even if just a rental carrying a freezer,
grab the attention of the neighbors? With all this in mind, fill out your evidence analyst report and your Mr. Smiley True Detective kit and send it in to receive your next link for a new case file. As always, True Detectives, thanks for watching. Until next time, Mr. Smiley and the NPG Cornerstone Nation.